and I'm just going to talk today on like what my insights around laughter has been and why I am refusing to take myself seriously any longer, and how that might benefit you, like how my insights may benefit you, and then just open the conversational space like that. So if you're interested in this conversation, stick around. You guys know that I love when you guys stick around, so stick around for the conversation and let's just get into it. So I've definitely been taking myself seriously in terms of judging myself, and I feel like that comes from a space of expectations. Like I've been expecting myself to be over there, but again, if I was meant to be over there, I would be over there. Do you know what I mean? I know what I'm capable of, I know how I can go, but I feel like because I know what I'm capable of, that's why I feel like I should be over there. But I know why I'm here. I know through my gratitude practices, for example, like I've had a very turbulent year, a very turbulent past 2 years, and for me to be where I'm at now, I need to be proud of myself, I need to be honouring myself, I need to be remembering like all the effort that I put into just to be here and film today. Because I forgot to ground myself in gratitude and just remember where I'm at today, I started to judge myself, and then just started to weigh on myself. I started to become a heavy energy on myself, and that heavy energy is seriousness. Like I've started to become really serious on myself and just be like, and just get lost in the waves of illusion, get lost in the wave of expectation, get lost in the ways of unthankfulness or being ungrateful. And is unthankfulness a word? So I feel like that seriousness and that weight takes away your laughter, but then it's the laughter that will knock down all of those walls of expectation that you place on yourself. And the reason why I say this as well is because when you envision someone laughing, or when you laugh yourself, like it comes from the bellow of your belly, like it comes from such a sacred and special place, and we will be speaking about that place. But then imagine like a wall, and like this is like expectation, judgment, barrier, and self-limiting beliefs. So it's just like a wall of rigidity, whatever your rigidity may be, and like that's the wall. And then when you laugh, it's like ha ha ha, and then like that ha 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 knocks down that wall, allows you to be true, allows you to go beyond yourself. Laughter allows you to go beyond yourself, definitely. And then even when you think about the inner child as well, and I have so much to say about the inner child, but even when you think about the inner child, so you have the masculine and feminine aspects of the body, so that would be the father and the mother, and then they come together right in the middle, because that's where the child is, right in the middle of the mum and dad is the child, which is the stomach, which is the laughter. And to me, that's where God is. And when you tap into that and just let that child laugh, and let that child remind mum, hey, life ain't so serious. Dad, hey, life ain't so serious. Creator, life is not so serious. I feel like from that childish space is where you actually learn, is where you actually progress. So going on to the word progression, if we think about walking forwards, or like the type of walking forwards, because you can move forward and not really go anywhere. Which is mad when I think about it and say it out loud. You can move forward and not really go anywhere. But then when you're like tapped into your core and you're walking with a stride, and you're walking and you're like in your own vibe, your own frequency, like you know them days where you're walking in alignment, you know, like you feel me when I say that, like when you're walking in alignment and the day just feels golden, you attract who you need to attract, you see what you need to see because you were here within yourself. Like each stride feels effortless and smooth, your heart's just full and you're just here and present. I had a conversation like this recently with my mum, and she was saying that it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there. And I had to say that I disagree. Someone with a third eye open and someone with a third eye closed, right? These people can be literally be walking on the same lane, wearing the same clothes, same shoes, having very similar experiences, but their experiences will never be the same because this person just sees more than this person. So that's why I feel like being in alignment with your core is so important, because you will see more when you're in this space, but you can only be in this space if you take time to laugh, if you take time to not be so serious. And then even energetically as well, you can tell the difference between someone that's tapped into this space and who isn't. Posture wise, energy wise, how someone shows up, like the type of energy that they receive from a space, because their body radiates godliness, gratitude, their body radiates a certain level of love, which is attractive. And then so even if, like again going back to what my mama had said about You know, it doesn't matter if you crawl getting there or walk getting there, as long as you're there. I acknowledge the importance of showing up, but then as well, how you show up is so key, because again, this life is all about energy, resonance, like what you're attracting, how you're doing it, and feeling. This life is all so much about feeling, and the stomach processes so much feeling. That's why the stomach is even where it is in the body as well. Like, so we have the masculine part of the body, which would be the back, and the stomach, especially mine right now since I'm sat down, you can see the softness of mine. Like, that's that feminine softness, because it feels so much and processes so much, processes your food as well. But I'm really gonna, because I just skimmed over everything, I'm really gonna like dive into what I'm saying and just break down this medicine so that we can just apply it to our lives. But yeah, like the stomach and laughter and just being joyful is so sacred, and I want us just to tap into that. And yeah, and there is a massive correlation between laughter, confidence, and God. When you say I believe, where does this belief come from? The breath is sacred to the body, and where do you think you breathe properly, deeply into? The stomach, where laughter comes from. To be a child of the Creator, you need to be able to create. What can you create from a space of limitation, based upon judgment that comes from fears that have been placed upon yourself? So again, I talked about how seriousness is like rigidity. So it's like this really rigid thing, or like a weight on you, and it keeps you in a solid format. Whereas I believe, again, we're here to be like children and to be creators and to step into our energy, and to activate our energy. So I believe from that space where you're not so serious, where you're just activating, you then can create, because you are truly present. But then if you're serious, you have a weight on you, you have oppression, you have a pressure, you have thoughts, processes to break through, and you have barriers basically surrounding you. Barriers can be good, but I feel like these barriers are more so limitations than anything else, because they're birthed from a place of fear. And you always think about, like, why are we so obsessed with the stomach? Like, why are you convinced to go to the gym every day to go and get a six-pack? Like, I feel like it's more than just biological reason. Like, and again, as above so below, like the body shows us where our focus is, and we always have a fixation with the core of the body. And then as well, if you think of the body as a machine, the core of the body, like where laughter comes from, that would be, if we were to think about a car, that would be like the whole engine. When you laugh, you have to be so confident to make that kind of noise, because some of our laughs are very questionable. You know what I mean? Like, imagine in a primal setting before where we are today in society, you know what I mean, before society being as it is today, and you just like bursting out with this random noise, and everyone's just like, yo, should we kill him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is he making noises like that? Like, what's going on? And then over the years, laughter becomes more normalized. But like at first, you have to be confident to laugh, because laughter can mean the difference between life and death, especially if you were in a, for example, like a wild setting where there's like animals over there, and you know what I mean, you have to protect yourself or defend for yourself. Like, to be able to laugh meant that you were the most present that you've ever been. To be ultimately comfortable in your own being, in your own body, like, that is godliness in a sense. Especially in the society that we live in, like, we're so encouraged to be uncomfortable in our own body, in our own ways, in our own energy, because we're taught how to conform from such a young age. Like, feeling ourselves out and getting into our own vibe and our own groove is like really, really discouraged. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like, comfort is a sense of limitlessness, and I mean obviously comfort in your own energy. So the opposite of that for me would be fear. And again, you cannot create from a space of fear. But then if we're here on this planet, on this plane, in this 3D, in a reality where, let me just sacredly pick up this leaf, we can pick shit up. Like, we can pick things up, we can move shit in this place and drop them, and just feel the love of gravity as well. Gravity is love. Because we're here in a space where we are in the 3D, and we are literally here with hands to mold, to manipulate, and to move, and to literally, like, fingers are like wands. You're here to make magic and work and words and elevate and all of that. Like, you know what I mean? You're here to make moves, and you are literally here to create. You are in the shape of 5. We are literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We are literally here to move. 5 is the number of movement. I'll get into that in a different video, but we are literally here to progress, and you cannot progress if you're not present, and you're not present when you're fearful, when you're judging yourself, when you put limitation on yourself. So that is why laughter and being limitless in your joy is so important. The difference between posture of a rich person and the posture of a poorer person is their spine, and the spine is supported by your core muscles. People who were traditionally richer in society were seen as kings, queens and pharaohs, and these people were seen as God's people. This is especially true in ancient Kemet before the modern era. Pharaohs were high priestesses and priests, and their physical structure was just another reflection of their relationship with God. Think of it like this: would you allow someone who doesn't even stand upright to guide you? This may be a shitty thing for me to say, yet honestly, I wouldn't want them to guide me, and would certainly have second doubts about it because they aren't even connected to their own core. They don't present their own bodies confidently to the world, never mind them having the confidence to guide me. Because the body is the feeling processor, and the stomach, let me not even get into the stomach yet, but like the stomach processes all of the feelings, you know what I mean? Like when you feel something, where do you feel it? In your gut, do you know what I mean? The stomach processes feeling so much. The stomach is the emotional center, and let's not forget that this life is full of emotion. Even the things that we think are less emotional require motion to even exist. For something to exist, it needs to vibrate, it needs to be in motion. Even walls and slower vibrational things such as like stone and rigid materials, they are still vibrating, they're still in motion. In terms of the body though, and being present in the body, you can literally have emotions stored in certain places in the body. Again, another conversation with my mum that I had, me and my mum talk about a lot, but another conversation that I had with my mum is that emotions get trapped in the hips. I believe it's so because the hips are like the elephant of the body. If you look at the hips, they literally look like elephant ears, and then the middle bit would be the trunk that extends into life. And one day it just clicked, like the elephant doesn't forget, the hips don't forget. That's why you also have sex here, but again, I'm gonna have that conversation in a different video. But yeah, so a lot of emotion can get trapped in the hips, get trapped in the spine, get trapped in the shoulders, definitely. That's why you need to get them shoulder massages. And it can start, like, for those of us that are not processing these emotions, you're not stretching, you're not comfortable with the discomfort of opening your legs, opening your chest, and being all out there and being all free. Even though I feel kind of rigid today, I'm not gonna lie to nobody, but like being out there, being open, being free, and just opening yourself up a little bit more, like, because you're not really because someone's not processing those emotions, it can create stiffness within themselves because they're trying to be a little bit rigid, trying to, again, a little bit serious. You're being a bit serious, so you're keeping yourself rigid. And then so the rigidity not only manifests as you just being a stiff person, but also as well manifests as hip pain, joint pain, smaller like back pain, misaligned posture, like, you know what I mean, things like this. So you can tell those that are royal, those that have the connection with God, with the stomach, with your chi center, the energy center of your body, and then you associate that with leadership. Okay, so even if you think about how humans move in comparison to other animals, like the reason we can stand upright is because of our connection with our core. Like no, let me not say no other animal has that, because I believe there is a reason for that. Like, and I believe that humans have a certain sense of elitism. For us to be able to move in this like dualistic way, so left and right, so literally we move polarized. It's my leg high enough. So we move polarized, so we move in a very dualistic way, and for us to be able to merge these dualities, we are literally tapped into this child. Biologically, we take things into our DNA, so via DNA you know how to walk the duality. So you're walking black and white every single day, black and white, black and white, but it is the G that will connect your black and white. As life has been, we as humans have progressed, and we've progressed to stand up and move forward, walking in a duality. So again, you walk left, you walk right, black, white, up, down, like, do you know what I mean, forwards, backwards. So we're walking in a duality, and what connects us, literally the connecting point, is the God. Do you know what I mean? The people that have come before you in your family lineage have all walked. So that has just naturally imprinted itself into its DNA. Your parents gave you a body, and then so within the coding of that DNA is the ability to walk. But then now I'm asking you, like, are you taking your own steps though, or are you just walking based off someone else's program? And the reason why I think this holds so much importance, and I don't even think I was going to speak about this today, but the reason why I feel like this holds so much importance as well is because it's like, are you creating your own blueprint whilst you're here? And how can you do that if you don't laugh, if you don't enjoy, if you're not present, and if you're not truly creating? Because ultimately we're here to be creators, do you know what I mean? So are you really tapping into that? Are you taking these steps in this life, or are you just running another program via the DNA? And also, one thing that I was like meditating on yesterday was just the aspects of how God is making mistakes. And I know to some people this might be like blasphemous and stuff like that, but we really have to loosen up and free ourselves from these limitations. But you have to think, like, an artist, as they approach the page, makes so many strokes, and like some people rub their things out. In art, you're encouraged not to rub out the lines of mistakes, because truly there is never truly a mistake. But in terms of like getting things angular, straight, rigid the first time round, that is inorganic, that is not life, and that is not flow. And I believe that the creator and creation itself is a flowing thing. So God will be consistently doing that, consistently being organic and consistently trying different ways and waves. And God does not limit God's self, like, you know what I mean? And we as beings that are learning to step into that likeness shouldn't limit ourselves either, or shouldn't view what we do in this life as mistakes, but rather things that we needed to experience in order to enhance our lives here, and to learn what we need to learn in order to live in alignment with creation. Sometimes that you look and reflect on your life, and obviously I'm definitely speaking about myself here, like, you look and reflect on your life and believe that because of some preset judgments that have been placed upon you, societal expectations, and just expectations that you might place upon yourself, you believe that anything that you do that is outside of these boxes is a mistake, when really you were meant to experience that and do that. And it is a part of the Akashic record, it's a part of the space and time. And it's meant to be, like, you are meant to experience that, and you are perfect in that experience. The only thing that takes you out of perfection now is this judgment, is this seriousness, is this weight. And even as well, talking about like what judgment really is. Judgment is a weight, and it's so perfectly represented by the scales of Libra, like the scales of judgment. But I was really thinking to myself earlier today, like, for you to judge yourself, you need to weigh yourself. But how can you weigh yourself when you're currently in the matter? Like, you are currently here to feel it, to be with it, to just experience it, and just to feel it, but not weigh yourself. Like, you're not even in a space where you can weigh yourself, because you have to be, well, not have to be, but there would be an aspect of you that is separate from yourself in order to weigh yourself. And again, that separation is now not present. That separation is now apart from self, like, isn't even here. When you're judging yourself, weighing yourself on a day-to-day whilst you're in this flesh, and whilst you're just experiencing this life and the matter, because everything here is my art, is matter, is a certain maths, and I'll explain it to you. So everything here has a certain maths to it. Like, everything here can be calculated. Like, give it to the right kind of genius, the right kind of person that knows the right kind of equation and how to weigh it all up. They will be able to show you how life is the matter at hand. And so because we're currently dealing with life, experiencing life, going through life and sitting in life, I don't believe that we're in the position to weigh ourselves and to judge ourselves. Yet we find ourselves doing it every single day. Like, you find yourself just pressuring yourself and literally weighing down on yourself through being serious and not experiencing the joy that you need to experience, laughing when you need to experience, tapping into this G space, which is ultimate creation. I mean, children don't the thing is, though, like, this is what I'm saying, like, children aren't judging themselves. Children are not judging themselves, and we're invited to be children of the creator, yet we are here judging ourselves. And it's like, why? Why are we doing that? Because we're here to play. Like, this is a garden, a space where I can literally mold things, I can literally create things and go beyond myself and anything that I've known. And as I age, I just have more access and more resources to help me do that. Yet we weigh ourselves and judge ourselves and limit ourselves through this daily judgment process. And again, it's not judgment day. Let me tell you that. It's not judgment day. It's not Judgment Day. Stop judging yourself. Stop creating Judgment Day. And your seriousness creates a Judgment Day. And it's like, who are you to do that to yourself? When you see yourself trying so hard, when you woke up today, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you woke up today, you're watching this video, you're on the other side of this camera and like, you're a part of this conversation, and yet you're judging yourself. Why? 10 for now, like, just shows a progression of consciousness. A through Z shows a progression of consciousness, and as you get to know each number or each letter, you'll see more and more of what I mean. And if you want to get into that, I would just say numerology is a really, really great thing to get into, just to give you the foundations. Not the airy-fairy numerology that's just like, if you see this, then this means this. Like, no, just more so learning the characteristics of numbers and how they apply to our lives, and how sacred geometry just shows up so much for us, as well as like the alphabet as well, like the esoteric origins of the alphabet. If you want to get into that, do your own research. It's a powerful practice. Yeah, numbers show the progression of consciousness, but in the state of oneness, like where you are the only soul being, like, how can one weigh oneself if there is nothing else? Like, there is only one. There's nowhere else to go to. The only thing. How can one weigh oneself? And this is what I'm saying. So like, when we are now judging ourselves, we step out of a state of oneness, and like, this is where we need to be. And then, so when we judge ourselves, we step out of a state of oneness and we split ourselves. And trust me, 2 is the loneliest number. Let me tell you that as a fact. 2 is the loneliest number. So let's just like stop that and get back to this. Again, in that state of oneness, you recognize that you are the G within. You recognize that this life is you. You recognize that you are connected and tapped in and feeling and flowing so much more, and receiving what you need to receive in order to stay here. So stay here, because it's the only place to be. The reason why we progress is to literally, so 1 progresses through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to be another aspect of 1 and to reinsert itself. But again, I'll make a video on that. So as always, I believe that we grow in community, we grow in communion, we grow through each other and bouncing off each other in a sacred space like this one. So make sure to leave your opinions down below respectfully, and just like see if you resonate with anything that I've said today in the video.